in yet another chapter of the Chem Bio lecture. Today we are going to discuss about kingdom fungi, and whenever we are going to discuss about kingdom fungi, we are basically looking at the general characteristics of fungi, the mode of nutrition, and similarly how are they classified. Okay, so let us start the kingdom fungi. So kingdom fungi. Let me just add a brief information about the kingdom fungi first. Okay, so basically kingdom fungi was before under the two kingdom classification system that was kept under the division Thallophyta, maybe because of its what thallus appearance, but later on in five kingdom classification system it has been kept under the what kingdom fungi. Okay, fungi itself is a what kingdom. There are a variety of more than 100,000 species of fungi are present today. Though we are familiar with a very few species of a fungi, there are almost 100,000 species of a fungi are present. Okay, and yes, fungi. Sometimes students even get confused. The singular is what? Fungus. Okay, fungus, that is fungi, and yes, the study of a fungi is called as a what? Mycology. Yes, mycology. This myco in Greek basically means the what? Fungus, and even it is called as also as what? Mycetology. The study of fungi, yes, that is also called as mycology or mycetology. So what we are going today is we are learning about the what? Mycology. We are under the heading mycology. Okay. So fungi, they are what? They are the eukaryotic organisms. Yes. So when we means eukaryotic organisms, they means that they have a what? True nucleus. Yes. Let me just write a very short true nucleus. They have true nucleus, and they are what? Multicellular. Multicellular, except yeast. That is unicellular. Yeast is what? It is unicellular. This yeast is one of the most useful what? Fungi. Okay, it is unicellular. It is even used for the process of making bakery. It is even called as a what? Baker's yeast. It is even called as a what? Brewer's yeast to make the what? Beer also it is used. Okay, so and fungi, they do not consist of a what? Pigment chlorophyll. That's why they are achlorophyllous in nature. Achlorophyllous means what? They do not have chlorophyll. They do not have chlorophyll. And as a result, they what? They won't be able to make the food. Yes? And as they are not able to make the food, again they are not what? Autotrophic. They are not autotrophic. So what they are then? They are what? Heterotrophic. Yes, as they cannot make their food because they don't contain the pigment chlorophyll. That's why they are what? Heterotrophic. They have a heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, so we have just discussed a few terms: mycology, eukaryotic, fungus, that is a singular, yeast, exceptional case. In many of the questions you might be asked about the exceptional case, so you have to be careful. Okay, so now again let's continue. Now we can say that heterotrophic thallophytes, they are the characteristics of what? They are the characteristics of fungi. Okay, and one more thing. So we will come back to this point, that is heterotrophic. We will discuss about the heterotrophic in more detail later. Just now let's memorize the general characteristics. So they have a varied or a form of morphology. Yes, there is a morphological variations. They grow in different kinds of a what? Habitat. Okay, so forms vary. So habitat, morphological forms what? Vary. They grow, they have different morphological forms, they grow in different kind of a habitat. As they grow in different type of a habitat, they are basically what? Cosmopolitan. We can call as they grow in all type of a habitat. That's why they are what? Cosmopolitan. Some of the fungi, it's interesting to know that some of the fungi can grow even in the freezing Antarctic. Okay, even freezing temperature maybe some of the fungi are being able to grow. Generally, they prefer warm and humid climate. Humid climate. Okay. Maybe let's say 20 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade. Yes. So this is a suitable for the growth of a fungus. Okay. So, so these are the basic things. Yes. They have what? And one more thing. One of the important thing about fungi is what? Their cell wall is made up of what? Chitin. Their cell wall is made up of a what? Chitin. What is chitin? Yes. What is chitin? So chitin you may have studied in arthropods. Yes, arthropod, exoskeletons. So chitin is basically exoskeleton. So chitin is basically what? It is more resistant to microbial attack. Yes, it is more resistant to the what? Microbial attack. And this fungi, they possess the what? Outer layer, that is chitin. And because of this characteristics, chitin, presence of a heterotrophic mode of nutrition, their fungi has been given a separate kingdom. Okay, they are not considered under the kingdom Plantae. Okay, so let's learn a bit about chitin. Yes, so let's learn a bit more about chitin. Okay, so chitin, it is a what? It is a polymer. Yes, let's not forget, structurally I am discussing, it is a polymer. And as it is a polymer, it consists of what? Chain of monomers. Okay, it consists of a chain of monomers. Okay, this one is a chain, that might be the chains. Okay, so how we can represent this? Each monomers are what? Each monomers are N-acetyl D-glucosamine. Okay, so this monomer chain of N-acetyl D-glucosamine form the what? Chitin, and this chitin is, I already said, it is more resistant to the what? Microbial attack. Okay, so this is about the chitin, that is the outmost cell wall of a what? Kingdom fungi. Organisms that falls under the kingdom fungi. Okay, so now let's look at the nutrition. I had said that they had a heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Yes, so under the heterotrophic mode of nutrition again. Okay, so under this they do have a what? Saprotrophic. You can say saprotrophic. You can even say what? Saprophytic when you want the okay. And another is what? Parasitic. That means a parasitic, and another is what? Symbiotic. Okay, symbiotic type of a nutrition. So now let's see. When we are talking about the saprotrophic mode of nutrition, that means saprotrophic mode of nutrition means what? The organisms, that is a fungal organisms, they absorbs the what? They absorbs nutrition. They absorbs the nourishment for them by what? From the dead, and absorb nourishment by decomposing dead and decayed organisms. They grow on the surface of what? Dead and decomposed organisms. Yes, dead and decayed organisms, and from there they absorbs the what? Nutritions. They have the what? Absorptive feature. Okay, they do have the what? Absorptive feature, and this for the absorption process, that is helped, or that is aided by the presence of a structure called as a what? Haustoria. Okay. Haustoria helps in the process of absorbing the nutrients, and similarly, once they absorb the nutrients, how does the digestion takes place is what? They secrete enzymes, digestive juices, yes, they secrete enzymes and digestive juices, so and helps to digest that food. Such kind of a digestion is considered as a what? Extracellular digestion. So extracellular digestion basically takes place in case of fungi. Okay. So saprotrophic, they absorb from the dead and decayed organisms. Yes. And saprotrophic fungi, basically have absorptive features, and that absorptive features, for that to absorb the nutrients, they do have a what? Haustoria. And even the cell, they produces the digestive juices, enzymes, yes, and the digestion takes place outside of the cell. Such kind of a digestion is called as a extracellular digestion. Okay. So let me move on to the next. I think it is clear now. Yes. So now let's move on to the next mode of nutrition, that is what? Parasitic nutrition. Yes. So in case of a parasitic nutrition, we are talking about the fungi. Yes, nutrition of a fungi. So fungi is there. Yes, fungi is forming, is living with a, fungi is living with a, living with a what? Host. Yes, they are surviving or living with a host. And this host can be, it can be plant, it can be animal. Yes. So what happens actually here, when a fungi is living with a host, a living host, that means a plant or animals. So what is the relation is what? Fungi is being benefited. Yes, fungi is benefited because it is getting the nutrients from its host. That's why fungi is being benefited. Whereas this host is what? It absorbs the nutrients. That's why the host is not, it's not being benefited, that is, it is in a what? Negative state. Okay, we can simply represent and memorize it. Host is not in a beneficial position, whereas fungi is in what? Beneficial position, as it is getting food, shelter, being in the what? Living host. Such kind of a nutrition, parasitic mode of nutrition. Okay, I guess this is also clear. Now let's look at the last one, that is what? Symbiotic. Okay. So let's move on to the term symbiotic or symbiosis. We can simply say one of the very best of a symbiotic association that is exhibited by this organism, that is a fungal organisms, is what? Formation of lichen. Yes, you might have heard of a lichen. So lichen, they are the associations of a what? Algae and fungi. Yes, this is my association of a what? Algae and fungi. The fungi part is called as a what? Mycobiont. Mycobiont. You can relate this word myco with the what? Mycology. It is related with the what? Mycology. And algal part is called as a what? Phycobiont component. So in this case, both of them are actually in case of benefit. Both of them are what? Algae is making food. Algae is making food, and fungi is what? Absorbing the minerals, nutrients, providing the shelter. That's why algae and fungi, both of them are in a state of benefiting each other. That is, it's a kind of a positive relation. That's why we call it as a what? Mutual relationships again. Okay, or symbiotic relationship. Okay. So lichen is the best example. Yes, we will learn more about the lichen in other lectures again. Okay. And one interesting point about the lichen I want to share here is what? If there are so many lichen in your area, then you should be happy, because lichen does not grow in the area where there is a what? More pollution. Okay. So that's good to have a what? Lichen. Okay. So now let's move on to the next part of a symbiosis. Another point is what? Mycorrhiza. Yes. So when we discuss about the Mycorrhizal Association, what we have to not forget is what? It is again an association. It is again a symbiotic association. It is again a mutual association, yeah, of fungi, yes, of fungi with roots of higher plants. Roots of higher plants. Okay, so when fungi is forming a relation with the roots of the higher plants, this is considered as a mycorrhiza. Okay, so as it is a symbiotic, that means both of them are what? In a beneficial state. Both of them are actually benefiting each other, being in such kind of a association. So let's see how they helps to benefit. Okay, so what happens is what is seen is that roots of a higher plants, let's just take an example of a pine. Okay, if pine are grown, if pine are supposed to be grown or are allowed to grow, experimented to grow without the fungal association, the stunted growth of pine plant is observed. Okay, the pine plant that becomes turned because of the less amount of minerals, maybe the less amount of potassium, phosphorus contained. But what is seen actually is what? When they are with the, when the higher plants are with association of a fungi, when the fungi are growing in the surface of a root, the absorptive area become more, yes, surface area become more, and as the surface area become more is what? They help in a much, what? They help to increase the capabilities of taking the what? Minerals like potassium, like what? Minerals like potassium, like phosphorus. Yes, and it is found that actually the rate of transport of the mineral, of the elements like potassium, phosphorus is actually almost triple in case of the plants with the presence of fungi. Okay, so they get the food from the fungi, get the food from the higher plants, and fungi is actually increasing the efficiency of getting the elements, okay, necessary elements or nutrients. So this is about the nutrition in case of fungi. So now let's see on the structure of fungi then. Yes, how are the body structures, how are they constituted? Let's see there. Okay, so let's see. We already said that they had a what? Varied morphological forms is what? Morphological forms is varied. Form are varied. Yes, that means varieties of morphological forms are found. So now let's see. Basically, the body structure is what? Filamentous. Okay, the body structure of fungi is filamentous. Okay, and this each filament is what? Is consisted of a long, thin, slender structures. Okay, and that structure is called as a what? Hypha. Okay, that long, thin, slender structures are called as a what? Hypha. Okay, so and this hypha is again, okay, and what happens in the hypha? What can we show? The outer is what? That is a chitin. The cell wall is made up of a chitin. Yes, and yes, they are filamentous except in case of yeast. Yes, we can say that is the so that is a unicellular. So except in case of a yeast, others are basically what? They are filamentous. Filamentous being formed by what? Hypha. Yes, so and the outermost wall, chitin, inside it there might be the what? There might be protoplasm, there must be let's say nucleus. Yes, nucleus, protoplasm are present. Similarly, there might be the reserve food material, glycogens. Okay, so this is how the individual hypha looks like. Okay, so this is how the individual hypha looks like. Okay, so now see, this hypha is again of two types. Okay, we are going very slowly, no need to worry. I'm explaining to you each point one by one. So please take your time, listen properly and just understand the thing. Okay, so hypha. So Hypha, they are of what? I have already said. Yes, and Hypha. And when we say hyphae, we are meaning what? Plural. Okay, hyphae is plural. Hypha is singular, hyphae plural. Okay. So this Hypha is hyphae or Hypha is of two types. Okay. And let's see. I'm drawing the two slender filamentous thin structure. Yes, because we know that from these thin slender filamentous structures, what is formed? The body of fungi is formed. Okay. So this Hypha is of two types. Okay. So I'm just drawing here. Look here. I'm drawing one transverse cross walls in one of the picture. Yes. Transverse cross walls. We call it as a what? Individually we call it as a septum. In group we can call this as a what? Septa. Okay. So here what I'm showing is a what? Septum. But here I'm just drawing. But here I'm just showing you what? Nucleus. Yes. I'm showing you nucleus. Okay. Here is nucleus, and what is here in this picture is what? Inside each of the septum. So what you can see is like a what? Individual cell. There is a what? Individual nucleus. Beside nucleus, there must be what? For a living cell, there must be of course protoplasm, rhizoid food materials, yes, a Golgi body. They have a unicistern Golgi body. So these are present over there. So now let's just look at these two pictures. Are these two pictures the same? Of course not. Yes. Both of them are Hypha. Both of them contain the nucleus. But in this picture, I would rather say this as a picture second. Okay, this is a picture second, this is picture first. So in the second picture, what you are seeing is what? Presence of a crush walls, and I'm representing it as a what? Septum, individual septum, and in plural form that is called as a septa. So where there is a presence of a septum or septa, we call them as a what? Septate Hypha. Okay, or septate hyphae. The other one is septate hyphae. And if it is a what? It does not have a septate and it does not have a cross wall, then we call them as a what? Or septate Hypha. We call them as what? Or septate Hypha. Okay. I think so far you are understanding. So we have to again carry on from this. This is a very basic, yes, a septate Hypha. You can see, yes, I'm just going to add one more term over here. You can see nucleus, that is what? Multinucleated state over here. Yes, in this Hypha, you can see so many nucleus. Okay, not being separated by any kind of a crush walls. So this condition is considered as a coenocytic state. This is called as coenocytic. That means what? Coenocytic means multinucleated state. Multinucleated states. Okay. So this one is called as a coenocytic. Okay. So this is the basic structures from how the fungi body structure is formed. Okay. So again, actually when you see and when you look the fungi, so what happens is what? There are the, let me just draw, there are the networks of entangling what? Hypha. Okay, and this mass of entangling interwoven Hypha, this network is called as mycelium. This is called as what? Mycelium. Okay. So the mass individually Hypha, plural hyphae, and their group of a Hypha, the network is called as what? Mycelium. Okay, let's not forget that is what? Mycelium. Okay, so the body structure, you can even say the body structures, they consist of a what? Mycelium. So what actually happens is what? If there is a the Hypha, yes, the structure of a Hypha can within a certain hours, they can largely grow, they can spread in their substratum and forms a what? Result in the formations of a mycelium once they start getting the nutrition. Okay, so this is the body structure. I guess this part is also clear. So Hypha, mycelium, those are very important points. Okay. Now, let me go to the another important part, that is a what? Classification. Okay, classification. And when we mean fungus, we means what? True fungi. Okay, when we are saying fungi, we are actually saying what? True fungi. Okay, it's even sometimes written as a what? Eumycetes, eumycetes. They are the what? They belongs to the true fungi. Okay, so now let's see the classifications. How are they classified? Okay, so let's see. So this fungi is actually it's classified into what? Lower fungi, yes, lower fungi, and another, of course, I guess you have already guessed, that is what? Higher level fungi or developed fungi, you can say, yes, or higher fungi. So this lower fungi, they consist of a what? A septate mycelium. They consist of a what? A septate mycelium. So a septate mycelium is formed from the septate hypha. Yes, because mycelium is the what? Group of a hypha. So a septate mycelium is actually formed from the what? A septate hypha. Okay, and whereas higher fungi, those are what? They are formed from the septate. They have septate mycelium. They have septate mycelium. Okay, and this lower fungi are also considered as a phycomycetes. They are also called as phycomycetes. Okay, so now this phycomycetes is again classified into two kinds. Okay, so those are what? Oomycetes. Other is what? Zygomycetes. We are learning very slowly, yes. So you just need to recall each of the term. So when we say oomycetes basically they have a what? Any of the member. Okay, any members, if they are flagellated. If any of the member is flagellated, then we call them as a what? Oomycetes. Any of the member, it might be gamete, it might be spore. If you have such, then it will be considered as a what? Oomycetes. And zygomycetes, they do not have a what? Zygomycetes, on contrary, they do not have, or let's say they have a what? Non-flagellated member. Flagellated member, that is what? Oomycetes. Non-flagellated member is what? Zygomycetes. Okay, so we will discuss more about oomycetes, zygomycetes later on, yes, while we are studying about the individual topic, yes. So now let's just move on to the higher fungi. We already said that higher fungi, they are formed of a septate mycelium. That means they are formed of a what? They have a septate hypha. If we further look down, they have a what? Septate hypha. And this higher fungi is again classified into three kinds. Okay, so what are they? Let's see. On the basis of a presence of a reproductive structures. Okay, so you need to remember the reproductive structures, and as you remember the reproductive structures, then you are going to remember the classes also. Okay, so now reproductive structures. Yes, if the reproductive structure is ascus, yes, we call them as a what? Ascomycetes. When the reproductive structure is ascus, we call them as a what? Ascomycetes. Okay, and when the reproductive structure is basidium, okay, as the reproductive structure is basidium, we call them as a what? Basidiomycetes. Okay, it's very simple to remember, yes. Ascus, ascomycetes, yes. Basidium, basidiomycetes. Okay, so and another one, in case of this, that is called, it is called as a deuteromycetes, and in this deuteromycetes there does not occur any sexual reproduction. Okay, it is not found or it is not seen. That's why they are even called as what? Fungi imperfectible. Fungi imperfectible for deuteromycetes. Okay.